got Hugo weaving here.
Thank you. Bye.
Recording in progress.
Hello, Hugo. I'm Elisa from Italian magazine Game Surf. And I'm so excited to be here with you today to talk about Slow Horses and with a chance to talk a little bit about the final episode because we will be spoiler free when this one will be up, so it's okay. But I want to start from the very beginning and ask you, how did you get involved in the project? Because I know you are related to Will Smith, and he told someone that they thought of you as the very first person while reading Spook Street and Frank character. So I'd like to know if is it true, and what do you think about this comparison?
Yes, it's true that Will and I are related, that we're cousins, and that he wrote the script. And apparently, when he was reading the book, he thought about me. I don't think he thought about me because I'm like Frank. I think he thought that I would hopefully thought I'd be good to play Frank. But yeah, that's true.
And what do you think about this character and the changes they made from the book to the series? Because he is quite different.
Yes, he's probably in the book has more of a sense of mission. What he's trying to do in the book is a little bit different from what he's doing in the series. He's a little more of a little less of an ideologue in the series. But in many ways he's a similar man. I mean, he's certainly an ex-CIA operative. He's been discharged for disobedience, embezzlement, weapons theft, etc. So all of those things are true. The idea in the book that he was running a sort of like an army training camp come commune is there, but the idea that he'd fathered all of those boys himself is something which is a more extreme version of the book. So I think he's possibly a more messianic character than in the book, and he's probably more of a classical villain, if you like. So I kept going back to the book to find the humanity in him and the reasons why he's doing what he's doing, just to give him as much dimension as I could and as much truth as I could, because I'm not interested in playing two-dimensional characters. I like to play characters who are fascinatingly complex, and Frank certainly is. So I think he's a really fascinating character. He's intelligent. He's complex. He has a charm. He's seemingly very calm, but he's very capable. And I read something about mercenaries having to have a sense of. There was a quote about be polite, be professional, but have a plan to kill everyone you meet. So I think Frank is always, when he meets anyone, is always imagining that he might be in a position where he has to kill them or fight them. So that's just his professional mind. But at the same time, I think he's experienced, and there's a certain weariness about Frank as well, and perhaps a desire for another life. I don't know. We'll see.
In a way, is the dark side of Lamb. They're both sort of father figures for the protagonist. Well, Frank, a literal father figure, and they know the true ugly face of the intelligence service in a way. And I wanted to talk about, well, it's not a spoiler anymore, I'm Your Father big scene at the bar in episode 5. The reaction were quite strong online, and it's a beautiful tense moment with River character. So I'd like to ask you how you prepare this scene, and how it was to work with Jack Lowden.
I love that scene. That was the scene. The whole season builds to that scene and that reveal, hi dad, hi son, and then the conversation they have. It's a really great season, I think, because it does introduce this significant member of the Slow Horses family in Frank, being River's father. So it was always an exciting scene. And I was imagining watching it for the first time what a kind of fabulous reveal it would be for an audience. It's a beautifully written scene, and Jack Loudon's such a fabulous actor. It was a lovely scene to do. We talked about it quite a lot beforehand, but it was very It felt we had. It was great. I loved doing it. I think because I enjoyed the writing, I enjoyed the character, and I enjoyed the way in which Frank wanted to meet his own son finally. Genuinely does want to offer him a job, even though it's kind of preposterous what he's doing. What he's suggesting is to River completely preposterous. And yet there's something in there that River can't deny, that this is his father. And there's something in Frank that Frank can't deny, that this is his son. So there's a kind of really wonderful, weird tension in the scene that I really enjoyed. And of course, that's the last episode, and Frank ends up getting caught. River, nabs him. But then, of course, Frank knows he's got fail-safes and he can leave and disappear. So he's still hanging out there. He's been introduced as River's father, and he's hanging out there. And the assumption is he'll be back in another season, and that's why I'm in London now doing just that. So
I was asking for that because we know that Gary Oldman said basically, I do any adaptation of the book, I'm so enthusiastic about this character. So I wanted to ask you, what about your thought of returning, and if you have a similar enthusiasm for this series in particular?
You were breaking up a little bit there, but I think you're asking about Frank's involvement in other series. Yes, yes. Look, there's not a lot I can say about it really, except that yes, he is. Anyone who knows the books knows that Frank is in a book called Joe Country, and that is what. I'm also filming here now, so that's all I can say really. But I'm excited to be back. I'm excited to be working with the Slow Horses family again, and it's a great production. It's a wonderful group of people. So it was a real pleasure to be here last year working with them. And I'm excited to be back. So yes, I long may it last.
I wanted to ask you, define this a family, and was the same term James Callis told me last week. I was making an interview with him, and he told me about this particular feeling of this set because he is, as you, a new entry of season 4 in a already established group, let's say. So I'd like to ask you, what is the feeling of this set, of this production?
Calm. There's very skilled people, a very calm atmosphere. People are working hard, but it's not tense. I think a genuine love for the material. People enjoy watching the show. People working on it enjoy watching it. So it's fun. There's a sense of it's a great mixture of being an entertainment, being a drama, being there's slapstick, there's thrilling chases, there's genuine tension, and also there's actually a lot of pain in there as well. So it's a great series. I think it's something that the people working on enjoy watching and feel proud of. So, but it's a brilliant production. The producers are very. Jane, the producer, is a really fine human being, I think, and Adam Randall, the director, was a lovely, lovely man. It was very easy. I enjoyed it immensely, and the quality of the actors are superb. So, and the script was a lot of fun. So, yeah, everything really. I couldn't really fault it. It was an easy, enjoyable experience.
And were you already a fan of the book, or at least had you seen the series before entering the cast? You were already familiar with the Slow Horses world?
I was not. I was aware of the books. I hadn't read them, and I by the time when I got the offer, I was wanting to watch Slow Horses because I'd heard so much about it. Mm-hmm. I thought I must watch that. I must watch season 1. And then I got the offer, and I went, "Oh, I definitely will." So that's when I watched it. So no, I knew of it, but I hadn't read the books. And then I had to make a decision about doing 2 seasons. I had to agree to it was a 2-season contract initially, and so I needed to make that decision. So I needed to read the books that Frank appeared in. Mm-hmm. In order to understand what I was letting myself in for, because I didn't have the scripts at that stage. I had scripts to the first block, but I didn't know anything about the others. So yes, I did read those 2 books. I read 3 books. The very first one, Slough House, and then the other 2.
And I wanted to ask you about the unique characteristic of this show, because Gary Oldman and the producer insist of having only a director for all the episodes for season 4, Adam Randall, and they say it's important to have a specific quality. So I'd like to ask you, as an actor, what changes and in what is different Slow Horses?
Sorry, what you'd like to ask me as an actor? What?
Yeah, what changes of having in a series only a director for all the episodes and not changing?
Yep. I know. I think it's critical. I love it when I'm involved. I don't do a lot of TV, but when I do, I love it if a director shoots all. They're usually 6 episodes, and the last 2 or 3 things I've done, that's what's happened. One director has been shooting all 6 episodes, and I think it's really, really important to have a cohesive sense of all the characters' through lines, that someone's looking after everyone as a whole. You can get characters if you've got a number of different writers involved and a number of different directors involved. Then characters and storylines and plot lines and plot points fall through the gaps, and it's very hard to build properly the whole if there's more than one director on it. And also, just tonally, as Gary suggested, you have a sense of this being one piece, being envisioned and controlled and guided by one primary artist, the director. And I think that's really important. And then it gives everyone a framework in which to work and be free and do their best work.
And that's the last question. I'd like to ask you if you had any chance to see reaction from the audience from this season and your character.
Well, a little bit, but because the last episode hasn't come out, it comes out this week, I think. Mm-hmm. And that's really the big reveal. So I haven't been able to talk about the character much, and people have only slowly been realizing, they've been slowly. Yeah, he's a very slow burn, Frank. So you watch episode 1, he's not in it. Episode 2, a little bit. Episode 3, a little bit more. Episode 4, he starts to make himself known. Episode 5, we get a sense of the threat that and that he's controlling the whole thing. And then in 6, you get the big reveal that he's River's father, and there's another human dimension to him as well, which is really interesting. So I haven't talked to anyone about that, the fullness of Frank, because he hasn't really been revealed fully yet. But I have been stopped by people in the street in Sydney in the last week. I'm now in London, but I was stopped by a few people the last few days I was in Sydney saying, by the way, I'm really loving Slow Horses. I'm really loving it. I'm like, Frank's ways are like really, it's a really cool season. So I get a sense that Slow Horses around the world is increasing in popularity, and I think it's always been highly regarded critically. But it's a series that more and more people are getting on board with and being excited by. So yeah, I've got a very strong sense of that. But specifically about Frank, I don't think he's quite announced himself fully.
Yeah, the grenade thing aside, the grenade they put at the last part of episode 5 shocked people in a way. It was a good farewell to River. You're my son, you're a grenade, because I need an exit plan.
Yeah, not the sort of thing a father should really be doing to his son, but yeah, there's a sense with Frank that he's training. There's a sense with Frank that he's been critical and admiring and training River increasingly. Like he's advising him, and also he's putting him in harm's way to see how he can, elude the problem that's set up for him. So there's a sense with him that he's a very he's a very dangerous father. Which is what makes him fascinating. He's both, he's sort of like, I did once say he was sort of like, he's sort of like Darth Vader in a way, in that way. He's both the darkest force and the father figure. And he's a threat, and he should be nurturing. So he hints, and what he's done hints at a much darker past for River, because River's grandfather, of course, was involved, and River's mother was involved with Frank a long time ago. So the character of Frank brings so much to the character of River. And as you suggested, brings so much to Lamb as well, in a funny way, because yes, they're both father figures. Yes, Slough House is a dysfunctional family, and there is a father figure, and that is Lamb. But there's also another father figure now for the central character, for River, the real father. And then he's also got his other father, who's the grandfather, who's been his actual father. So River has sort of 3 fathers, which is fascinating. And because it is a series about family, ultimately, it's about dysfunctioning family, I think Frank just adds to that fabulous tension.
Thank you so much for your time. It was a pleasure.
Pleasure. Thank you very much indeed.
Bye.
Recording stopped.
Thanks, Lisa.